Welcome to Rev Sports Indoor, staying true to its legacy of being an absolute belter. And what a treatment Indian bowlers got on that wicket, because Daryl Mitchell coming up with another 137 runs off of 131 deliveries for Darren Mitchell. And on the other hand, you had Glenn Phillips with another ton. So runs galore for New Zealand, 337 on the scoreboard. Debashish, I'll start with you. Do you think New Zealand have enough runs on the scoreboard? Because let's be sure, Indore is known for high totals, and anything, a lot of people say that anything under 350 is still chaseable. What are your thoughts?
Yes, if India can chase this total, they are winning the series. As simple as that. But if India fails to chase this total, they are losing the series. Means after the whitewash in the Test series, they lose the one-day series, and that too against a depleted New Zealand side. So there's much to read. Means more than the result. Means obviously losing to win the New Zealand in a ODI series, and that too at home, despite New Zealand are missing so many key players. So that says a lot, Kargi. If you ask me, means obviously, yes, this is our ideal conditions for batters. There's hardly anything for the bowlers, but still, you should give it where it's due. And New Zealand has done it exceptionally well in this series. When beat a Will Young, beat a Glenn Phillips, beat a Daryl Mitchell is outstanding. He's out of obviously he's what to say. I wonder how to describe means. So I think now the onus is on the superstars of Indian cricket, the Virats, the Rohits, the KL Rahuls, the Shubman Gills, whether they can chase this total, it goes to be seen. So huge run chase coming up.
Bharat, Daryl Mitchell has been smoking Indian bowlers in India. He becomes only the second batter in ODI history to score 4 or more ODI tons against India in India, is what freaking awesome is saying. But Bharat, do you think 338 runs on the scoreboard are enough for New Zealand to defend this total?
Yeah, first of all, I have to remember this is a big match because this is the series decider. So there will be pressure on the Indian batters. If you ask me, ideally New Zealand would have wanted 363, 70, but the top order didn't do well. They were 6 for 2 in very good conditions for batting. So from there on, Daryl Mitchell and Phillips, and then obviously Young also got out. So from there on, Young and Mitchell and Phillips had to rebuild the innings. So that is why I think they missed out on 360. Because I think they're still 20 runs short, but 337 is a very, very good score. And Daryl Mitchell, in my humble opinion, is arguably New Zealand's best player of spin. That I'm only talking about playing spin. In overall basis, I know among the batters that I've watched, I think Martin Crowe is the best that I've seen in terms of overall ability, and Kane Williamson has got plenty of runs. But in terms of how he plays spin bowling, I think is the best from New Zealand, because they see how he played against good length bowling from spinners. He was picking the length early. That is why he was able to go right forward, use his reach, or for the matter, go right back. He also used sweep and reverse sweep so many times. I think he's one of the best players when it comes to rattling the spinners in terms of hitting all those deliveries on good length. So what basically happens is spinners suddenly lose their rhythm. They don't bowl on that hit that good length spots. They start bowling a little bit shorter. Maybe they try to bowl too full, and that is why I rate Daryl Mitchell, especially in spin bowling, extremely highly. Again, showed his class. He's someone who has that temperament as well. Because at 6 for 2, he could have come in and tried to hit too many shots and might have gifted his wicket away. But he was willing to stay out there, showed deep reservoirs of mental strength, and then obviously showed his class against spinners. So 337, with it being a series decider, I think New Zealand are very much in the game. But if you ask me, generally you would want in these kind of conditions, I think 360. 360 would have meant that I think I would have definitely made New Zealand favorites.
So, Bharat, you think New Zealand are still 20, 30 runs short? Shomik, I'll go over to you now. And if I were to read out the economies of the Indian bowlers here, Arshdeep Singh 6.30, Harshit Rana 8.40, Mohammad Siraj 4.30. Now, all three of these bowlers completed their 10 overs. Then comes Ritish Kumar Reddy, 6.63, bowled 8 overs. Kuldeep Yadav bowled 6 overs with an economy of 8. And Ravindra Jadeja bowled 6 overs with an economy of 6.83. So that those numbers tell you that it was an absolutely unforgiving surface here. But does that also give you hope that India will be able to chase this down? Because if Dew comes into play, then it's India's game to lose.
Yeah, I'm backing India to chase it down. At the end of the day, yes, 337 is a big total. Is It's an imposing total, but indoor it is chaseable in indoor, and also as you rightly mentioned, the due factor would come into play. And India have a gun batting lineup. India have if you look at the top four or top five, they have a gun batting lineup. So from that point of view, India can very well chase it down. But there are certain concerns accepted that this is a belter of a surface. But even in Indian conditions, your top two frontline spinners are not bowling more than 12 overs combined. Yes, so that is an area, and Kuldeep Yadav would be going to T20 World Cup, mind you. There, he will be complemented by Varun Chakravarti. Varun will, as and when Kuldeep plays, because in the T20 side, Kuldeep is not an automatic pick. But if Kuldeep plays, Varun will create pressure, and the other spinners, including Kuldeep, will be benefited from that. But uh, I mean, if you take this as a standalone, Kuldeep Yadav, go back to Kuldeep's first delivery to Daryl Mitchell. The first ball, Daryl Mitchell jumped out of the track, hit him for a six. That's where the psychological battle was won. And once that happens to a bowler, you are always on the back foot. You are always on psychologically, you are always on the back foot. You know this guy, you cannot bowl a length where he can sweep because he plays the sweep shot brilliantly on both sides of the wicket, be it a conventional sweep or the reverse sweep, and here he is going downtown also. So as a bowler, you get confused what length to bowl. So in Indian conditions, irrespective of that, the pitch is a belter. If your two frontline spinners cannot bowl more than 12 overs combined, that is a serious concern. I am not saying that this total is insurmountable. India may well, and India with the due factor coming in, I would still back India to surpass New Zealand's total. But there are certain concerns that needs to be addressed.
Absolutely. And if India wants to chase this down, I'm seeing Rohit Sharma play a very important role today. If he is able to get
Both
that.
Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill, and once again Virat Kohli, the top three, because when you bat first, even if like New Zealand lost two early wickets, but even after that they could post a total as imposing as 337. That is when they were playing without any scoreboard pressure. But here, when you are chasing 337, you are also fighting against scoreboard pressure. So, in that case, top three becomes very, very important. Contributions from the top three. That's where this game would be won or lost. So, Rohit, Shubman Gill, and Virat Kohli, the three most important players, given the circumstances and situations, the three most important players for India at this moment.
100%. Devashish, there is a super chat here. Worst kind of spin bowling seen after a long time. Jadeja and Kuldeep kicked out of ODI team should be kicked out of the ODI team immediately. My God, that's why Bishnoi back due to Kuldeep's worst form. Quite harsh words from Prosenjit. Obviously, you can criticize a player, but I don't think this is the right kind of terminology to be used here. Anyway,
Yeah.
Debashish, what are your thoughts? Uh, Obviously, you know the surface is not giving you anything, so I don't know what the bowlers could have done at this point.
But at the same time, Gargi means obviously India need to look beyond look beyond Ravindra Jadeja. In particularly in one day cricket, what exactly is his contribution? Do you tell me? You look at the stats for the last the 15 on 20 ODIs. Means where has Jadeja exceptionally played and taken India home single-handedly? It has not been the case. It has not been the case with Ravindra Jadeja. Yes, he has chipped, he has clicked in a few matches, but not that. Where is that consistency? And you always look up to Jadeja as to give. And what has been hurting is today also what a start it was by India. Those 2 wickets, then also Will Young departing, and India looked like means New Zealand were even a ardent follower of New Zealand wouldn't have hoped that they would be posting a total of 337. But the problem is not picking a wicket in the middle overs. That is where, and I think everything went wrong. Means both Kuldeep and Jadeja, they were both Mitchell and Glenn Phillips were playing it just as an ordinary spinner. So I think it's time now that Indian team management needs to think beyond Ravindra Jadeja. As far as one-day cricket, critics might argue that he's still your best bowler, but he's your experienced player. But you have someone like you need to think about someone like an Akshar Patel, or in this case, as the selectors brought in a Ravi Bishnoi. So I think it's time now, Gargi, because with another 15 or 16 matches to go, if I'm not wrong, maybe I'm wrong, another 15 matches to go, so not many matches left. So you have to, and remember, in South Africa, you won't get conditions that is ideally suited for spin bowlers. So India need to find out some bowlers who is definitely can do some trick with his bowling. So I think Ravindra Jadeja has well past his prime for me.
Oh, Bharat, Shayan Ganguly here is saying this is not just scoreboard pressure, but also series winning pressure. This is the point you were making in your last answer as well, that this being the series decider, there will be a lot of pressure on the Indian batters going into this chase. Who do you think are the key, cogs in the wheel here? Obviously, the top three, there needs to be a very aggressive start, but what are your thoughts?
You see, in ODI cricket, obviously your top order has to fire, especially in this kind of big changes. Your top order batters have to score hundreds. That's as simple as that. India would like to be something like 200 for one after 30 overs. Then they can easily set it up for the middle order to come into play and chase. And for that, they have to get through Kyle Jamieson and also to some extent Folks. Folks is not in the league of Matt Henry, the bubble seam king Matt Henry is not in that league, but still is a very decent swing bowler. And Kyle Jamieson is also very good. I think he's a even better swing bowler than Folks, and gets a little bit of bounce. He's 6 feet 7, 6 feet 8 inches, 6 feet 9 inches maybe. So he gets bounce. He always seems to get college wickets. So I think that will be the key part. The first 10 overs, if New Zealand can strike up front, if they can reduce India to say 30 for 2, 40 for 2, then India are definitely under the pump, because then the pressure will definitely shift over to India, because they won't be just thinking about, say, what can you say about the conditions about playing out Kyle Jamieson. They would be thinking about, oh, we need under 300 runs to get, and that will really put the pressure on them because it's a series decider. So the start will be key, and India's top order batters have to fire in these conditions and get India maybe, as I noted, at least 200 for two of after 30 overs. That will definitely set it up. Obviously, it's easier said than done. They have to go out there and score those runs.
Shomik, there's a super chat here that says we would have lost in the World Cup semi-final too if Shami was not there. Looking at this series, do you kind of think in hindsight if Shami would have been here, it would have been different? What are your thoughts? Does your mind ever go there?
See, there's no point brooding over Shami's exclusion, because it feels like, or it seems that the selectors, and that is water under the bridge now. The selectors don't pick him. You might think that he is still capable enough. I might think he is still capable enough, but the selectors don't think so. It is evident the selectors don't think so. Be it his fitness, be it his form, whatever it is, the selectors are not confident. Shami is no longer part of the setup. So we have to move on. That is, but one very, very important aspect that Devashish has mentioned, not taking wickets in the middle overs. The last big tournament in the 50 over format India won was the Champions Trophy in February, March last year. And if you look at it, it's not only about Virat Kohli's runs or Rohit Sharma's 100, Rohit Sharma's match winning 70 odd in the final, or Shreya Shayyar and KL Rahul chipping in. It was also about India taking wickets at regular intervals in the middle overs. Be it Mohammad Shami in its second spell, be it Kuldeep Yadav. Kuldeep Yadav bowled a brilliant second spell against Pakistan, and that's where he turned the match on its head. So that middle over, taking wickets in the middle overs, played a very key role in India winning the Champions Trophy. And very, very rightly, Devashish brought up this point. This has been a concern that India are not taking wickets in the middle overs. I rather, more than Shami, I would rather see Barun also playing this format. But here is the catch: because irrespective of the conditions, Barun will make an impact even in 50 over cricket. But here is the catch: because Barun is a very, very one dimensional cricketer. He will work his magic as far as spin bowling is concerned, but he is a mug with the bat. He is not a good batsman, and his fielding is, I mean, he is a weak link in the field. So, are you ready to take that risk? Uh, I mean, modern day white ball cricket, if you know Gautam Gambhir's thought process, he prefers multi-skilled cricketers. So from that point of view, you can bring in Varun Chakravarti to this setup for taking wickets in the middle overs. But the downside is that you will lose. Still, Kuldeep can bat a bit. Still, Kuldeep is a better fielder than Varun. So all things combined, uh, it is a pretty tricky call. But once again, I totally agree with Debashis that India not taking middle overs wickets in the middle overs, that cost him the game at Rajkot also, and here they are under serious pressure.
They definitely will be under serious pressure because Devashish, this is not just about, you know, yes, it is an inconsequential series ahead of the T20I World Cup, but at the same time, you have to look at the context that Indian cricket has been in for the past 12 months. We've seen a lot of home series, we've seen losses, which won't augur well for Gautam Gambhir and the rest of the management as well. So that will be the real pressure here.
More than the series, I think it will hurt the ego of the Indian players. Means particularly when you talk about white ball cricket, yes, you leave aside Test cricket, but when it comes to white ball cricket, especially T20 and one day cricket, India has been a dominant force in world cricket. And to be losing at home, if they supposedly if they go on to lose this match and the series, that will hurt their egos. Means obviously India boasts of a excellent record at home in white ball format, and I think that to me will be a telling blow. And I think it in a sense it will. I mean, obviously there is a lot of learning from this series, especially what happens without a Jasprit Bumrah, without a Hardik Pandya. We all know why they are not playing because of the T20I series and the upcoming T20 World Cup. But without Bumrah, without Hardik Pandya, do we have the firepower? Yes, Harshit Rana or a Prasidh Krishna can win you matches, but what about the consistency? That is one thing that is worrying, and you need to find a bowler who can bowl you, who can win you matches day in and day out. Means obviously India will be playing in South Africa, and assuming that Siraj has been outstanding. Siraj has been outstanding in all the three matches. So Siraj, assuming Bumrah will also make it, means obviously India need to find the third backup bowler because that will be very important in conditions in South Africa. Yes, you will have a Hardik Pandya as well, assuming that he keeps himself fit. But definitely these are ominous signs, and I think this New Zealand series is a great learning curve for the Indian team management.
Yes, Shomik.
Gargi, as you said, on the face of it, it is an consequential series, and if India lose, I still back India to win this game. But if they lose this game, but it could have a long term, it could have consequence in the sense, I know T20 World Cup is a different format, it is a T20 format, but India losing so far over the last couple of years, India have been unstoppable in white ball cricket at home. So if New Zealand can pull this off without without missing several frontline players, That will give them the belief, and not only the New Zealand, all the other teams, all the other top teams coming into the T20 World Cup, be it Australia, be it England, be it New Zealand, that yes, this this fortress is breachable. Yes, there will be at the T20 World Cup. India will have Jasprit Bumrah, Hardik Pandya, and the inclusion of those two cricketers changed the dynamics completely. But that said, it's an unpredictable format. The belief, if New Zealand can pull this off, it can have a trickle down effect, irrespective of the format at the T20 World Cup also, that the other teams would start believing that yes, we can beat India in white ball cricket.
Finally,
Can
before
I
we
just,
close the show,
can I just add a point to that as
yes,
well? I
Bharat, I
think
was taking your comment only. Go ahead.
I think we are perhaps thinking too much about Indian pace bowling, because in these conditions, your spinners should come into play. I think Indian spinners have really flopped, and that is why India are struggling as much as they're doing, because your pace bowlers are still taking a couple of wickets here or there. Siraj also took a couple of wickets, one or two wickets here or there. Arshdeep Singh himself today took three wickets. And in his last three ODIs, Prasidh Krishna has taken 7 wickets. Harshit Khanna here or there has taken 2 wickets on those lines. So I think it is your spinners who are really flopped in these conditions, because at least in the second ODI, there was enough in it for the spinners. But both the Indian spinners look out of out of depth, out of sorts at present. As I noted, Ravindra Jadeja is someone who is basically bowling left arm slow, nothing for me. Because if you notice, he was darting the ball previously. What he's tried to do is he's tried to slow down the pace, but despite slowing down the pace, he's not getting the ball to dip. He's not imparting any revs on the ball. And Kuldeep Yadav is not the bowler that he used to be even a couple of years ago, because for some reason, maybe because he's played too much of limited overs cricket, it's not imparting much revs on the ball, revs on the ball at all. So both your spinners are ineffective in the middle overs, and that is why I think this is happening. If for example, next year in 2027, if Indian pace bowlers flop, then you can go after the pace bowlers, because the conditions are better for pace bowling in South Africa. But in these conditions, your spinners have to strike in the middle overs. But Indian spinners have been largely ineffective in the 3 games, and that is why I think India found themselves in this kind of a situation in the third ODI.
All right, well, we'll just have to wait and watch on whether or not Indian team can chase this down. We're all backing, I think the panel is synonymous when we say that we're backing the Indian batters to go ahead and chase this down. Whether or not New Zealand are 20 to 30 runs short is something we'll find out soon enough. Thank you so much, Debashish, Bharat, and Shomik for joining. And to everyone who's watching, be back with us at the end of the game. We'll have to see whether or not India manages to pull this off. Thank you so much and enjoy the match.